The day they came, the sky fractured like glass. It began over the Pacific. Lights that moved too fast to be satellites, too erratic to be meteorites. By the time the world realized it wasn't a celestial show, it was already too late. The first alien ships didn't just descend, they folded into existence. Monolithic spires of dark alloy, humming with an energy that made human instruments scream and die. They called themselves the Veyrath Dominion, and they didn't come to negotiate. Their first act was not war, it was silence. All communication satellites turned to ash in orbit. Within hours, the internet, GPS, global power grids, gone. Humanity, once so connected, was plunged into isolation and confusion. I was in orbit when it started. Captain Aidan Holt, commander of the ISS Odyssey 2. We were above Hawaii when the Dominion fleet entered the upper atmosphere. From that height, I watched the aurora shimmer unnaturally, colors bleeding into shapes that no science could explain. Then the oceans below began to boil. We thought the end had come. On the fall. The Veyrath's method was horrifyingly efficient. They didn't need to conquer cities. They simply disrupted the planet itself. Earthquakes, tectonic anomalies, and what we later learned were gravitic field ruptures. They shattered continents by manipulating the planet's magnetic core. Within 3 weeks, half of humanity was gone. Nations collapsed under chaos, survivors scattered. But even in the darkness, human stubbornness burned bright. Across continents, small groups began fighting back. Engineers, soldiers, farmers, hackers. They called themselves the Fractured Alliance. By the time we on the Odyssey managed to reconnect with ground command, what was left of it? The Alliance had already found something. Something buried in Antarctica. A facility older than any known civilization. The Dominion wanted it too. That was the only reason they hadn't turned Earth into dust. And somehow, humanity had gotten there first. I was ordered back down, crash landing near the facility's coordinates, alongside a small retrieval unit led by Colonel Ava Wren, a woman whose name would one day be carved into human history. To the hidden vault. We reached the site after 2 days of trekking through blizzards and ash. The entrance was carved into a glacier, but the architecture beneath, it wasn't human. The walls shimmered with circuits that pulsed like veins. There were glyphs, not written but grown into the material. The deeper we went, the louder it hummed, as if the structure was awake. Our linguist, Dr. Yassine, realized it wasn't a base. It was a seed. A planetary defense left behind by a civilization the Dominion had already erased ages ago. And we, in our desperation, had found the trigger. But the technology came with a choice. Activating it required a resonance key, something that needed to sync with the planet's life field. Essentially, the consciousness of every living human. It was never meant for us. The AI interface translated one of the final warnings before we could shut it down. To awaken the seed, the host world must sacrifice its unity to preserve its flame. No one understood what it meant until we tried it. 3. The breaking point. The Veyrath didn't give us time to decide. Their ships were already descending upon Antarctica, cutting through the clouds like burning knives. Colonel Wren ordered the activation anyway. We had no other options. Dr. Yassine linked the generator to the global neural grid. What was left of the digital infrastructure? Every connected brainwave, every signal, every device still transmitting power, would channel into the resonance. But it was unstable. Too much input, and the human psyche would overload. Too little, and the seed would never awaken. So we gave everything. Wren broadcast the signal across every surviving human settlement. The message was simple. This is our last stand. Sync with the signal. Whatever happens next, Don't resist. First it felt like static, then like electricity under the skin, then like someone else breathing inside your mind. We saw memories that weren't ours. Mothers in bombed-out shelters, soldiers holding broken rifles, children staring at burning skies. It was unbearable and beautiful. We became one mind, one fractured consciousness spanning the globe. But unity wasn't what the seed needed. The AI had been clear. We needed disunity, not harmony. Humanity had to break itself first, to sever the psychic web that held us together. Ren understood it before anyone else did. She took the command console, rerouted the synchronization feedback, and split the resonance field into billions of chaotic frequencies. The result was agony. People screamed, fainted, some died instantly from neural shock. Every mind connected was torn apart by their own thoughts. The field cracked like a mirror. And then the seed awoke. For the shattering. The ice beneath us liquefied. The ground trembled, not from tectonics, but from energy radiating outward in every direction. The Dominion fleet above Antarctica began to distort, their massive vessels folding inward like collapsing origami. Whatever that ancient weapon was, it didn't fire beams or missiles. It rewrote the rules around it. Space-time twisted, and gravity behaved like a liquid. The Veyrath's ships couldn't adapt. They shattered into fragments of light. But the cost was unimaginable. Every human connected to the resonance field felt the collapse. Billions of minds splintered under the feedback loop. Some survived but not unchanged. Memories gone. Identities fragmented. Humanity had, quite literally, broken itself. When I woke, the sky was clear. The alien fleet was gone. The glacier where the seed had rested was now a crater. Smooth, silent, and warm as if the ice had never existed. Colonel Wren was gone. All that remained of her was a scorched badge embedded into the glassy earth. 5. After the storm. Months passed. The Dominion never returned. Perhaps they couldn't comprehend what we'd done, or feared it. Humanity slowly began to rebuild. We called the event the Shattering, a name that fit too well. No nation, no religion, no ideology had survived intact. The neural backlash had erased much of what we'd built, but it also removed something else. The boundaries between us. Those who'd survived the resonance shared flashes of others' lives. Memories of people they'd never met. Feelings they couldn't unfeel. Changed us. Empathy became instinct. Conflict became harder to justify when you could feel another's pain as your own. I remember walking through the ruins of what was once Buenos Aires, seeing children helping strangers bury the dead. No one asked who they were or what side they'd been on. There were no sides anymore. We'd lost everything. And yet, in a way we'd won. 6. The return. Years later, when the skies were finally calm, I was assigned to a new mission, to investigate the remnants of the seed crater. What we found there wasn't ruins, it was growth. The ground pulsed faintly, as though the planet itself had begun to heal. The AI voice returned, faint but clear. You have done what others could not. You shattered your unity to restore your existence. This world will live because you chose to break. We didn't fully understand it then, but the seed had begun to transform the Earth on a molecular level, repairing ecosystems, stabilizing magnetic fields, even restoring oxygen balance. The planet was alive in a new way. But every miracle has its echo. At night, survivors began hearing voices, fragments of the resonance, lingering in the collective unconscious. Whispers of people long dead, carried through the quantum scars we'd left behind. Some said it was madness. Others said it was proof we were never truly alone. 7. The final transmission. 10 years after the shattering, a transmission reached Earth, from deep space. Not from the Veyrath, but from another species entirely. They spoke in fractured signals, but one message was unmistakable. You broke yourselves to survive. The stars now remember your defiance. The Dominion fears you. The message ended with coordinates. An invitation, perhaps. Or a warning. The United Earth Assembly, what little government remained, voted to send an expedition. I was chosen to lead it, not because of rank, but because I'd been there when the world broke. Before departure, I visited the Antarctic crater one last time. The air shimmered faintly like a heartbeat made of light. I thought I heard Ren's voice. We shattered ourselves to win, Aiden. Never let them forget what it cost. 8. Epilogue: The price of survival. We left orbit in silence, the stars stretching endlessly ahead. Behind us, Earth glowed softly, scarred but alive. Humanity had become something new. We had no gods, no nations, no illusions of invincibility. But we had each other, and the memory of what we'd done to keep that fragile light alive. They came to shatter Earth. But in the end we shattered ourselves, and from those broken pieces we became unbreakable.